Hey folks, Aaron here to let you know that this episode of Aquaman is brought to you by technical difficulties. That's right, we had a slew of technical difficulties this episode, namely microphones not working, and audio equipment recording more than it needed to, and yeah, it was strange having all these happen at once. I re-recorded my lines in the beginning to make sure you could actually hear them and they were clean. You'll find Ryan's audio in the beginning to be a little choppy because I had to cut out some of the background noise in his. And then after about the 12-minute mark, everything should be fine. But the intro just got away from me. I'm sorry about that. This is going to be the only episode, as far as I know, this season that'll happen with, which is lucky for you because the season's almost over. Aquaman this week, Shazam next week, and then we're on to the Marvel movies. So thank you for listening, and again, sorry for technical difficulties. But like always, I'll be here to let you know when they're going to come up, so you know what to look out for. Enjoy the show. Hey, you land-loving assholes! I'm Aaron J. Waseska, and I'm here to tell you that, like the sea, the internet is a cruel and harsh mistress. Search engine optimizations, watch time, that damn algorithm, but much like the perils you'd face in the big puddle we call the ocean, a little money can help us go a long way. Why don't you swim over to patreon.com/Evacstation. For just $1 a month, you can help keep our show afloat and weather any internet shitstorm. Again, it's patreon.com/Evacstation. Better batten down the hatches, boys. It's gonna be a good one. Welcome to the After Credits Cast, the only podcast to air not once, but twice from under the sea. And we'll keep doing it until we get that damn One Piece movie watched.
Oh, Lord.
We are Arthur J. Waseska, the Ocean Metters.
God damn it.
And King Robbie Nelson of the other White Atlanteans.
I like it.
See, at least he doesn't have to get stuck with the silly-ass mask. Jesus Christ.
Well, this may spoil my opinion on this other movie we're talking to talk about, but the mask looks way better in the live-action one.
It does. It does.
I would agree with that.
Which is really kind of sad to think about. So, if you hadn't guessed this week, we're talking about Aquaman this week. It is the wet week of DC films. But before we get into that, though, a quick reminder about the links down below for Patreon, Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, and all the various podcast platforms of your choice. Click all the links below, find us everywhere, support us through Patreon or by rating our show, and send in more fan mail because we love hearing from you. With all that, let's get to our first segment. Guys, what you been watching?
This week I've had a lovely house guest staying with me for a little bit. And because I am a sucker for her wiles, she has insisted that I watch Venom for the first time. So I got to see that today.
Alright, Ryan, be honest now. Even if you've got a gun to your head over there, how was it?
I loved it so much. I'm not blinking once for help. No, I'm not. No, in all seriousness, it actually wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I actually did have a bit of fun with it. Once I let go of the idea that it's like for real Venom from like Spider-Man Venom, and like let go of all attachments to the Spider-Man kind of universe, then I was able to just kind of settle in and enjoy what the movie itself was actually doing. It wasn't brilliant cinema, but it was fun, and it was a fun thing to see. So I'm glad I watched it.
What did you think? What did you think of Woody Harrelson's Little Orphan Annie wig?
We loved it over here. Oh, we loved it.
Oh my god.
We were dying over here. I would actually love to see more Woody Harrelson, just like in spite of the wig. I would love to see him go off and play the serial killer and get the symbiote, become Carnage. That would be a lot of fun. I would like to see what new take they try to do on it, since they're doing something new with the Venom franchise at this point. I'd like to see Woody Harrelson's different ass spin on Carnage, but it's something. It's something I'll keep an eye out for. Sure.
I think it will be.
Gotcha.
Yeah, a great. I thought it was great casting, for future installments. But what a great rom-com movie! I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was absolutely a love story. I loved it. Never mind, it was between him and a pile of goo. Don't worry about it.
I did hear there was a cut made by fans where they actually cut it to be more of a rom-com with the lead and himself, basically. And I'm like, okay, you know what? That would be funny to watch, actually.
I believe it more than I believe his. I believe that more than I believe the actual female love interest that they were trying to build. I ship Eddie and Venom more than I ship Eddie and whatever her name is.
6 months.
Oh, that's funny.
Well, before I go, Robbie, how was your week? What did you watch?
I've been busy with work, so I haven't really watched anything recently.
How does it have to be from this week? It could be from the last time I've seen you.
Yeah, so over Christmas, after I actually saw Aquaman, I went and saw Vice.
Oh my god, how was that?
Oh, cool.
So, I wish it was better.
That's the one. That's the one with crap. What's the main actor's name
It's
again?
Christian Bale playing.
Gotcha.
Dick Cheney. And
Dick Cheney.
He did an excellent job, and he actually had mannerisms down and talked like him. It was really cool. But the other characters in the movie, like Steve Carell was Donald Rumsfeld. It was basically just Steve Carell being older, political him. I don't know how to explain it, but
I can picture it.
Yeah, but no, I mean it was good. I don't know if I'd watch it again, but I think it's worth watching, one time if you're interested in that type of movie.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I've been wanting to check that one out a little bit. So it's on my list right next to Mandy and a few other ones. So
sure.
Yeah. When I saw that was coming out, that was something I definitely wanted to check out. It sounds like a lot of fun. It sounds like some intelligent, fun cinema that I like.
Yeah, it definitely was. I thought it was gonna be better. I'll just let you see it.
Cool. Well, I'm going to go over one of my ones I played, I'm going to go over one I've talked about a while ago, or was going to talk about a while ago. I watched it back in, December, November. But, I also have a game that goes along with it. I have finished Season 2 of the Castlevania anime.
I'm jealous. How was it?
I love it. It's very good. The pacing's a little weird in the middle, like all Netflix shows, but it has a great beginning, great end, and honestly, the middle is not even that bad for 8 episodes. It's still really good. Animation's solid all the way through. I love what they do with Dracula by the end, and oh my god, it's so good. To pair with it, on sale on the PlayStation 4 over Christmas, I got myself the Castlevania Dual Pack, which has Rondo of Blood and Symphony of the Night in it. And I've played
nice.
I'm in the middle of Symphony of the Night right now. I'm in the Reverse Castle, and I love every minute of it. It is a great Metroidvania. Highly recommend it if you have not played it.
Okay, all right. I'll have to keep my. I actually haven't played a Castlevania game. If I were to start, which one would you recommend me start on?
Rondo of Blood comes first, but its mechanics are a little more geared to the old school Castlevania, which may turn you off. Symphony of the Night, though, if you played Super Metroid, it has some stuff in common with that, but I think it's actually a bit better. And It is one of the games that inspired the Dark Souls series, so I think you might have more luck and more fun with Symphony of the Night.
Huh. Alright, I'll take that into consideration. Tough.
Absolutely. Again, anyone who has not played Symphony of the Night, which is a classic PS1 game, don't be like me, don't wait all these years. Play it now. Go have fun with it. It's really good. And with that, let's move on to tonight's film. This week's Crisis in Infinite Films brings us to the undersea world of Aquaman, released late in 2018 and directed by the unusual choice of James Wan. It is still in theaters at the time of recording, which is going to be weird since this is going to come out in, March, but whatever. But it is currently boasting a domestic box office of $259,720,000 and a worldwide total of $940,720,000. And last I checked the headlines, I actually have to have him look today. It was almost or about to cross the 1 billion mark.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
This is right now. Since I wrote this is the highest grossing DCEU film to date. Period.
Yeah.
We'll see if Shazam comes up to beat it next week, but I don't think it's going to have as much traction. I don't either.
Yeah.
Do you know what Wonder Woman capped out at?
You know, Ryan, that's an excellent question. I can look it up real quick. Wonder Woman. I just wrote Woman.
Didn't it make? It got to 800 million or 750, somewhere around there, I think.
Box Office Mojo tells me it is 821 million worldwide.
Yeah, there you go. Yep.
That's for its whole lifetime. Aquaman's been out maybe a month. Actually, not even a month.
Yeah, it was right before Christmas, wasn't it?
Yeah.
When it first came out? Yeah. So
This is fucking crazy. If you had told me back in 2008, when Iron Man was just coming out, that Aquaman was going to make $1 billion when it first came out, I'd be like, man, you're crazy. That's fucking stupid. But no, this is good. This is good. That's a lot of fish. This film stars a very robust cast, including Patrick Wilson, Nicole Kidman, Amber Heard, the Dolph, the ever-talented Willem Dafoe, and our Iowa homeboy himself, Jason Momoa.
That's my guy. That's my guy right there. Hand to God, when I sat down to see it, because I haven't watched Justice League as of yet.
Neither have I.
But as soon as he showed up, I audibly said, "Is that Willem Dafoe?" And
I was pretty happy with Willem Dafoe. That was a good addition. Good addition.
It surprised the hell out of me, but I was glad to see him.
Wait, so both of you guys have not seen Justice League?
We have not. Well, okay. Correction. When this episode comes out, we will have seen it. At the time of recording, we have not seen it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cogliostro.
Yeah.
Cogliostro.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, so we haven't seen it yet. And I know there's a moment in the film they reference Justice League, and I'm like, okay, well, I hope I don't have any more of those, because I really don't want to, not know what the fuck's going on.
I was glad that they didn't lean too heavily on it. There was one mention, and I understood the reference as soon as they said it. It's pretty much, oh, there was a bad guy from Atlantis that showed up, and that's who he had to fight in Justice League. Okay, that's it. Boom, done. And then, all right, we're in our own movie now. And I was like, that's great. I'm glad you did it that way.
So, let's see. Moving on. Let's see. There's no nominations for this movie at this time, and there's no awards currently listed for the movie either at the time of writing, which is a shame because James Wan has openly criticized the Academy Awards for the visual effects snub. I think it's deserved at least that nomination.
I will 100% agree. This one should have gotten a nod. At the very least, it should have gotten a mention.
With that though, let's head over to the fun facts desk with Ryan. Ryan, what do you have for fun facts?
I got a couple of fun facts for. So first off, James Wan revealed that he had a choice of choosing to direct between Flashpoint, slated to appear in 2020, or Aquaman. But he chose Aquaman because he's the underdog and the less known of the two. He wanted to tackle a fresher property that he could put his own spin on.
Mm-hmm.
Now, during the duel between Arthur and Orm, I can't get something right. Orm. An octopus plays a drum solo. I personally love that shit.
Oh, it was awesome.
It was so weird, but so good.
According to the director, the octopus is Topo, Aquaman's octopus sidekick from the 1950s through the 1960s. Wan was initially unsure about putting Topo in the film, but was inspired to do so after watching Mad Max Fury Road, saying, if that film could have a guy playing a flaming guitar, I'm going to have an octopus playing a drummer in mine. I love this. Man, this is
awesome.
my hero.
That is attitude and style all summed up in one sentence.
It was so good. It was so good. And last but not least, Nicole Kidman was the director's top choice for the role of Atlanta. They were previously set to work together on another film in 2000, scrapped, unfortunately. Kidman has been a longtime supporter of Wan's career and has publicly raved about his films Insidious and The Conjuring, calling him the new master of horror, quote unquote. She was also eager to join as the filming took place in her home country of Australia. Really happy to see her. And I personally thought the anti-aging CGI they do for her character, like towards the beginning,
good stuff,
was really, really well done.
Yeah, it was.
I want to say it's good that there's a lot of like positive stuff for the behind the scenes here versus what we had for Green Lantern. Like, it just shows if you have a good behind the scenes chemistry with all your actors, directors, and shit, you're gonna make a better movie, hands down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
So before we dive into this synopsis here, gentlemen, what are your initial thoughts going into this movie?
We usually like to let the guests speak up first. And Robbie, we haven't heard from you in so long, so tell us, what did you think originally coming to see this movie?
Well, obviously, movies in the DCEU, I didn't have really high expectations, so
I don't think anyone did.
Yeah. But I went into it and I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to have fun. I don't care, what the outcome is. I just think it's going to be a fun movie. And really, it was really fun. Like, they had great visual effects. You had a goddamn octopus playing drums. You had this monster voiced by Julie Andrews, you had just like all this crazy stuff. And William Dafoe, he shows up, and I kept waiting for him to turn into the Green Goblin, but he was a good guy the whole time, so that kind of threw me off. But all in all, I had a great time. Was it the best movie I've ever seen? No. But I think it's definitely the best that the DC universe has done, and they finally had fun making a film, I think.
I like that. I like that. I'll follow up with that. So I think like Robbie as well, a whole bunch. I was so pleasantly surprised. Is without a doubt the most fun DC movie that they've put, the live action movie that DC has put out in its current iteration of the universe. I think they went for a really hard line comic book feel, not taking itself like ridiculously serious, but really trying to go for just big action and big fun. And I think they overshot in a couple of areas, but overall, I was completely down for the ride. I had a blast. And I liked this about 6 times more than I thought I was going to.
Here. I'll keep mine very short and simple. The movie was very fun, but ultimately a little stupid, and I think it has a little too much going on, but it's still a fun time.
Okay.
That's fair.
Well, let's hear the synopsis, and then I want to get into that, because I want to see what you mean by a couple of those things.
I'm looking forward to this, because I actually think this is one of my more fun synopsises here. Get your drinks away from you.
All right. No drinking.
Fresh off his box office failure in the Justice League, Wet Dave is pulled into the conflict of underwater America against the other states of Atlantis, which are predominantly non-human monsters. With the aid of discount Scarlett Johansson, Wet Dave ventures over the Trump-imagined wall topped with turrets and engages his brother in a duel with big forks for the right to be king. But Wet Dave's fork is not as sturdy as the might of his brother's bureaucracy, which is the name of his brother's fork. Magic Black Widow ejects Wet Dave from the competition, while they leave Norman Osborn to spy on Wet Brother's court. Wet Dave and that spicy redhead go do some globetrotting through a Mummy set, a Mamma Mia set, and some Cthulhu-ass deep-sea adventure, and to find the clues needed for a shinier magical fork to give Wet Dave an edge. After swimming through the caves of the Cthulhu-inspired monsters, they stumble across John Hammond's secret Jurassic Park, where nature truly found a way. They also find Wet Dave's mom, who was banished for having Wet Dave as a son. Wet Dave then goes into a cave to be judged by the great Cthulhu of the magic fork to be worthy. Saying Wet Dave this much is really fucking messing with me.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Wet Brother is waging a Five Armies-style war against fishmen and crab people in his attempt to take over the world. The sea world, that is. But Wet Dave intervenes with his newly established Cthulhu and sea monster army. He re-challenges his brother to a fork duel, but this time totally killmongers it by winning. Wet Mom, comes out to tell Wet Brother to stop being such a bad bureaucrat, and they lock him away because bureaucracy. Wet Dave is now the new king of the big puddle we all call the ocean, and not once had I made a Seaman joke. You're welcome.
God damn you. Well done, sir. Well done.
That was good. Good work.
Oh man, we should have been Wet Aaron, Wet Ryan.
Oh man, that would have been so much better. Missed opportunities. Well, what can you do?
Okay.
Now that we've gone through that wet picture, what do you all think of the movie?
God damn it. Oh man. Oh, well, I mean, like I said, I really, really enjoyed it. I think the first thing I want to call out is I thought the visual effects in the whole movie were fucking stunning. I loved both the work underwater, which, like, that's how you do a lot of CGI without, like, beating people over the head with it. Like, everything was CGI, but it wasn't, like, Green Lantern terrible CGI where it was just garish and horrible. It just looked really, really good, like everywhere you went under the ocean.
Well, can I add? I think it helps that they had a variety of colors to use. I think having everything be green and Green Lantern didn't do them any favors.
That's fair. I'm gonna give them a whole bunch of credit because it was still super bad.
Oh
and
no,
I think more than a palette choice was wrong with that movie. I loved the digital work. I loved the landscaping and the stunt work for the land sequences in the Sahara and in Italy. I thought that was a lot of fun. I thought they made really good use of human physiology because they had them doing stunts that would straight up kill normal people. And then they had the stunts look like they enough impact that it would kill a normal person, and then they got up and they kept doing things like jumping out of a plane into the desert or fucking crash multiple roofs in Sicily just for the fuck of it because a chase scene, and diving into the depths of the trench was one of the most visually breathtaking things I had ever seen, and the movie only topped it some where he fucking calls the entirety of the ocean to fight for him.
Yes.
So I love the visuals of this movie. And
yeah, I gotta say, and I'm gonna probably be in the minority here. So I was thinking back to Infinity War, and I remember when we watched it, I did point out a few minor nitpicks with the visuals, such as the weird green screen use for Bruce Banner in the Hulkbuster, and a few other minor things. While I have to rewatch this to verify for sure, I don't feel like there was any real inconsistencies of that level. I think this movie, visually the whole way through, might actually be more consistent than Infinity War, which is something I didn't think I'd ever see before.
Yeah. And that's harder to do considering just how much CGI was in the movie and just how many like new and different creatures they came up with. I mean, riding sharks and fucking battle seahorses and shit.
Fucking Cthulhu.
Fucking Cthulhu's and crab men and nightmare fucking mermen that terrify you. Like, they had a lot of spinning plates going visually, and I personally think that they kept it all straight and really held it together throughout the whole movie.
So I guess, and then we gotta give Robbie a chance to talk here, but before I get too far, I have to ask you guys, is this what you expected from an Aquaman movie? And if not, what else would you have wanted?
Robbie, what you got?
To answer that question, or more thoughts?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Both? I mean, they did a great job with, like, you know, everybody makes fun of Aquaman about talking. I thought they did a really good job showing his communication with the ocean creatures and not making it, like, cheesy like the Super Friends, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I really appreciated that. I wanted to see more of the Seven Kingdoms or whatever. Like, seeing those crab people, I was so pumped. I was like, yes! That was so badass. But I thought they did a good job, though, you know, at the end with the huge... having all those different creatures and how visually stunning that was. It was incredible to see. And even though I know we're going to talk about how we felt the movie was kind of bloated, I love that Black Manta was in this movie and not saved for the second movie. Just getting that little taste of one of my favorite villains really, you know, got me excited for where this is going to go.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Now, Ryan, how about you? Or Robbie, do you have anything else you want to add?
No, Ryan, you can go ahead.
Well, like I said earlier, I didn't expect too much from this movie. So, I mean, I took everything as a really, really pleasant surprise. I can't think of anything else that I wanted in it. I personally liked the fact that they had to kind of do this adventure to go find the trident that involved taking them, like, outside of the ocean for a little bit. I thought that was a really cool and interesting idea, so that they could the surface world for Mira's sake as well. While I like Black Manta, I felt like he was just a little shoehorned in. Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Because,
I mean, he was.
I love his design. I love his design. I love his character. But, I mean, that the whole conflict of Black Manta's character was really brought upon by himself and his father. Yeah. And the fact that he's literally on there only because it's just like, no, I have to kill Aquaman. That's it. There's nothing else to his character. It's just like, nope, I have to kill that dude, and that's it. Like I liked the action set pieces. I liked seeing him develop his armor, which was aside from that, I don't think he added too much to the movie except for, like, the big action set piece in Sicily.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I'll agree. It kind of leads to my next question with the whole little long, little bloated kind of thing. Because in the synopsis, I did skip pretty much everything with Black Manta and a lot of the flashbacks regarding Aquaman's past, because realistically speaking, they kind of do fill up a lot of space in the movie, which I think if they had cut, you could have gotten the runtime down a little bit, and this would have been a much tighter experience. And I think the story that's left over is still really good without that stuff.
I think Black Manta, I agree with. Willem Dafoe, I actually really enjoyed seeing him on my screen. Like, personally, I wasn't sure which side he was on until, like, the very end. Like,
they were really clever.
I expected him to be a villain.
Osborn, and I'm like, fuck, is he gonna flip? Is he gonna flip? Where's he going?
They were really clever keeping him kind of, like, in the gray area, because it looked like he was playing both sides for the longest time.
It did. That's why I wouldn't cut anything with his character out, because it was always just a joy to see him, because you knew he was actually working with Mira and with Arthur and trying to get them to do the thing, but when you saw him with Orm, he played his part to perfection. He's like, no, my lead, We need to get these other armies on our side. There was no wavering in his character. In fact, I think it sold me on Orm a little bit that he saw through the deception when the Vizier's deception was so well done. Like, Orm catching that actually made me like Orm's character a little bit, or gave me a little more respect towards him, because if he was able to catch that, then I thought he was pretty good.
Yeah, it makes him seem like he's actually paying attention. Yeah.
Yeah.
Robbie, what do you think on that?
Yeah, Orm, I think, was actually really well done. I mean, you guys mentioned earlier how much better his mask looked. Like, a lot of the stuff in this movie, like comic book accurate costumes, I thought they did a really good job between his mask and Black Manta's, outfit, because that's really hard to do, like, in a live action, I feel
it
like.
Is.
And make it look good.
Yeah, and it actually looked really good, so I was really impressed with that. But yeah, like you're saying, Ryan, having Orm see through William Dafoe, who was selling it pretty hard. You couldn't tell which way he was going, and he saw right through that, so that was pretty cool. Can we talk? Are we going to get to Dolph Lundgren? Because I really want to talk about that.
You know what? Let's jump right into that, Robbie. What do you got for me?
Oh my God, Dolph Lundgren. I don't know. He just looked like he was having no fun in this movie, and he just kind of had a dumb look on his face the whole time, and his hair was ridiculous, and
that red hair was not flattering to my boy.
I don't know. His character just kind of sucked. I don't know. And I love Dolph, like I was a big Rocky fan, and and Creed and stuff, but I don't know. It just, like, when they were talking about how having to where am I going with this? With the 7 armies, getting everybody's, approval or whatever. What did he say? When they're in that, what I'm talking about, and they get attacked, the fake attack.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And like, well, we have to get the 7 approvals, but and he lists all these reasons why they can't do it. It's like, well, what's the point of even getting the approvals then? So, yeah, I don't know, but
I mean, I can understand why he might not have been having fun with the role. I mean, he was playing second fiddle to the main villain, and I imagine Dolph Lundgren being like this. I wouldn't say he's the biggest actor, but his name's out there. People know who he is. I imagine he would have probably wanted a bigger role, and they couldn't give it to him. I mean, Patrick Wilson killed as Orm. He did really good.
He really did.
Jason Momoa, I was skeptical, but he makes Aquaman work really well. And I don't see what other roles he could have had other than maybe waiting another movie to give him something better. But I think what they gave him was pretty solid all the same.
Yeah, I think the role in and of itself was pretty good. I mean, he was the king of, like, pretty much the biggest military force aside from Orm's, which is why he was the first one he had to get his backing on. He played Mira's father. I think it was mostly just that the script didn't give him a whole bunch extra to do, if that makes sense. Like, his character from the script's perspective was probably a little flat. Is mostly just, I don't, like, I know you need me to convince the rest of the armies after you go talk but secretly I kind of want this war too. Okay, so I'll back your play. And aside from just being Mira's dad, at that point, there was just there was really no draw to his character. It was nice to see him, but he didn't get a whole bunch of stuff to play with in the script. So I can understand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, so I did mention it earlier before we got into the synopsis about the movie having referenced Justice League in the film. I think it's like in one of the earliest scenes where Mira first comes across Wet Dave. And I guess the question I have for you is, do you feel like, and Robbie, you've seen the movie, so you can actually answer this.
Correct.
Do you feel like Justice League is necessary to watch to understand anything in this film? And then, to add to that, Ryan, are you more compelled to see Justice League because of this movie?
Just an answer. I'll say that.
Yeah. to answer your question, Aaron, no. Like it's gonna be very confusing when you guys watch Justice League
Lord.
because
it's a shitty movie. I'm sorry.
well, yeah,
I'm saving my answer. I'm sorry.
it's okay. It's okay. You know, yeah, because Aquaman has to go get his mom's trident down in Atlantis.
Mhm.
So he already meets like Mira, but then like in this movie, I feel like it's like they don't really know each other. They kind of know each other, but don't know each other. So it's just I don't know. It's just
They're
weird.
like acquaintances, not really friends. You know, they're
Yeah, but like the way they talked in Justice League, it seemed like they knew each other better. I don't know. It was very. It's like it's not connected, which I understand. They probably wanted to make this in case there's never another Justice League, like as its own standalone thing.
Well,
but it's just like what was the point of all of that? You know?
Well, to add to that, actually, so I was reading some of the fun fact options for the episode, and one of them had to do with Justice League's design and ideas for the Aquaman world, and how James Wan didn't like it, and how he changed it to just be what it is here. And one of them was that Zack Snyder had planned to have like areas of like bubble areas where people can talk underwater,
Yeah.
to make it make more sense. And James Wan's like, no, fuck that. They can just talk and keep it simple. And I'm like, James Wan, why aren't you doing this whole thing? You seem to have a better head on your shoulders than anyone else right now.
Yeah, it's just like for me personally, it's just unfortunate that they didn't, try to jump. And I get they were trying to catch up with Marvel, but they should have just stuck with doing solo stories and then leading to the build up. It would have made so much more sense.
Indeed, indeed.
Snyder in charge, and yeah, it makes me sad because I love DC, as you know. So,
Mm-hmm.
go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, Ryan. What were you thinking?
Well, like I said earlier, I didn't see Justice League at the time of this filming.
Same here.
So I haven't seen it as of yet, and I personally didn't feel lost at all. They made one real reference to Justice League with the major villain Steppenwolf, and aside from that, everything else was kind of was really pretty smoothly glossed over. Like the fact that he actually had to go to Atlantis to get his mother's trident was never really brought up, but it didn't feel wrong that he had it. So it's just like, oh yeah, and that's his mom's trident, and he's got that, and that's perfectly fine.
Mm-hmm.
Or the fact that Mira, he had already met Mira once before. Like we got that with the throwaway line when he saw her. It's like, look, I already told you I'm not interested in going back. And I'm like, all right, that's where we are. And that's where the movie picks up.
Well, that line could be read in one of two ways, too. It could have been, specifically her, or it could have been just Atlanteans in general. He's like, look, I already told your people, So I'm like, I could have read that either way. So it worked. It worked really well.
Right. I mean, he he clarified that, in, another two... honestly, I'll have the same mercy for him as your people had for my mother, which is none. And I'm like... Yeah, all right, that's real.
Mm-hmm.
They killed his mom, and he's not amused by that, so he doesn't really want to go back to Atlantis, which I thought was a really, really great setup for his character arc. And I thought the character arcs and the story were well done overall, but I'll save that for later. For the second part of your answer, no, I'm not compelled to go see Justice League because no, I will see it because I need to see it for this podcast, and because I have a very pretty woman over here who gets mad at me when I tell her that I haven't seen it yet. But
is she giving you a look now?
Yes. Yeah. I'm not going to look over my shoulder. It's just death. It's the face of displeasure over there.
And I should add that in Justice League, Steppenwolf actually went to Atlantis because he had to get the mother box. So they actually fought Steppenwolf in Atlantis to try to stop him from getting it. So Aquaman already fought in this, villain from a different world, and it's it didn't happen. So,
yeah,
that too.
I do apologize to the audience.
I'm not.
As I say, I do apologize to the audience who are listening. You're like, wait a minute, you guys talked about Aquaman a week or two ago, and I'm like, yeah. Sorry, guys. This is gonna be confusing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not amazingly like I said, I'm not like more excited to see Justice League because of. I'm glad that this felt like such a departure from it. Like it took just about the bare minimum that it could from just its own thing, and I think it was all the better for it.
I agree. I'm kind of glad that this movie is holding up itself really well after the box office flop that was Justice League, because I could have easily seen that movie translating to this one as, oh, that movie wasn't good, he was in it, oh, this probably won't be good either. So I'm glad audiences either A, have a short memory, or B, are a little more forgiving than I thought they'd be. So,
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think with Aquaman, they're just excited to see something they've never seen before and see, what it was going to be, because we've never had an underwater hero in a movie to experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you're right. I think the difference there is pretty important. I think because look at Marvel. I think Guardians of the Galaxy is a good example of that, where it did really well. No one had heard of it until then, and it was so different and weird, but it worked, and everyone loved it for the most part. And I think,
oh yeah, absolutely.
And I think Aquaman, not 100%, is kind of in that same vein of something different, but it's got enough of the stuff we all know that, hey, let's check it out and see if it's any good.
Also, I feel that there's still a little bit of the old stigma of like Aquaman being like the shittiest member of the floating around there, because it's just like, guy talks to sea animals. What the fuck? Like, and so you not only have a character who's not as well known, but he has a small bit of stigma to him, and so this movie gets to introduce fresh new concepts that, if are very, very well, which in my opinion they were, can knock it out of the park, because people don't have a lot of stuff to compare it to. It's just fresh and new and good. It also gets to downplay these rumors of like, oh yeah, Aquaman's garbage. He's like when he comes flying out on a with the sea at his back, it's just like, who can gainsay this man at this point in time? This man deserves to be on the Justice League. Like, you can't laugh at him anymore. It's Jason Momoa. It's fucking Kyle Drogo wielding a golden fork and commanding the. I'm fine with this.
Mm-hmm. I just want to say, too, throw a little shade over to the Family Guy side of things. I do think that they're partly responsible for the Aquaman jokes being so popular in recent years. They did not help that at all.
It was funny.
Oh, no, it was funny, but it did not help Aquaman's popularity at all, by any means.
Yeah, very, very true.
Okay, back to the film, though. So, Myra, whatever. How do you guys feel about her character? Compelling, complete character? Why or why not?
Robbie, what do you think? Because I have things to say about Myra, but what do you think?
Well, first off, she's gorgeous, so we can get that out of the way.
Agreed.
Yeah, and they definitely flaunted that, which I was a fan of. I don't know. I mean, it seemed like her character wasn't really dived into that much. It was just kind of a way to get Arthur to do the things in the movie. She was just kind of the person to direct him in every part of the movie. Like, we didn't get to know her very well. So, which kind of sucks, because like in the comics, not that I read a ton of Aquaman, but like she's a pretty badass character.
Oh yeah, I mean,
you got to see some of that.
You see that badassery here alone, yeah, but her character-wise, yeah, no, there's something lacking, I think.
Yeah, so that's kind of my thoughts on that.
Ryan?
Yeah. First off, let me say that it was finally amazing to see what a real life fucking waterbender would look like.
That's true.
It was her.
Shout out to the Last Airbender podcast. If you haven't checked it out, there's a link in the description down below.
Fucking take notes. This is how you do waterbending, because she killed it. I 100% loved it. Every time I saw her use her powers, I'm like, it's Katara. There she is. Except she has red hair. All right, let's go. Aside from that, I will agree that her character wasn't dived into a ton, but the kind of broad strokes that we were given, I did enjoy. I liked the fact that she had this. I liked the fact that she had this kind of this small bit of royal arrogance to her, but also that the sheltered portion of her, as soon as she was outside of her element and on land, she was really smart, but she also was really dumb in certain ways. Liked seeing that dichotomy. I liked seeing her open up and get more comfortable as she was around. So I went with a couple of people who felt that the love take was forced, and while it wasn't like amazingly done, and it was seen from literally a mile away as coming, like I still appreciated it. It didn't feel like it was jammed in my face, except for the makeout session in the middle of the fucking war. That was a little overdone.
Yeah.
Just a little overdone. Like when she starts wrapping her leg around him, I'm like, can we get back?
Listen, Ryan, if you aren't making out in the middle of a battlefield, then you aren't making out.
Like, she was like dry humping him at us.
Well, no, it's underwater. It'd be wet humping.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So yeah, aside from that, I liked her. I agree that they didn't do a deep dive, but I liked the shallow bits of her. I thought she was a nice character that if you went deeper into, but if you if you looked a little closer into her character, gave her a little more screen time, you'd see that she's a very complex and well done character. So I think the broad stroke.
I've been holding the laugh of those puns. Like, we've been dropping the names shallow, deep. What's the other one I heard too? There's a couple of them. They're really good. So first off, I agree with both of you guys. I think that she's a very well attractive and very powerful character, and I think that you have at least the framework to build something much more interesting there. I do think that they did kind of anchor her character down a bit, with marrying her to the whole Aquaman romance thing. And here's the thing: I get it. It happens in the comics. They get together. It's how it goes. But I don't feel like they earned it in this film necessarily. I mean, yeah, they went on this journey together and everything, but I mean, it's the same as any other Disney 24-hour romance, you know? Hey, look, there's Aladdin. Oh, hey, he's lying to me, but whatever. He's got a cute face. Let's get married. And that's basically what it is.
It's very cliche. It is very cliche. But yeah.
Yeah. And I think it would have done them so much better to not, like, push that as hard as they did and maybe, like, allude to it. Like, maybe have her be interested or giving him a look, but not necessarily do anything about it yet because, you know, they're busy fighting a war. And then maybe have that be a big part or a bigger part of episode 2, basically.
Yeah.
But they did what they did, and like I said, I think it's one of the many things where they were trying to do too much at once, and that might be one of the things I would definitely trim down or cut to focus on what's happening here versus distracting with this other shit going on. I don't think they need that necessarily.
I'd agree with that. I think that if you were looking to trim down the runtime, that's probably one of the first things I would recommend that they edit.
Yeah.
Not a hard cut because like a lot of their romance is kind of built into the fabric of the land adventure, because like all throughout going from place to place, they're just kind of doing more and more towards the whole, they're going to get together. So maybe just reshoot the scene so that it wasn't as like heavily implied, and then have less wet humping in the last fight. Sure. Because that was like a 20-second shot.
It really was.
It was really pretty, but like damn, like she comes to him originally saying, "Hey, the casualties are getting too high. We need to, but first let me make out with you for 30 seconds."
Well, I mean, what you don't realize, Ryan, is that the deaths in the war are what make it, or what are making her wet, not just the ocean.
Gross.
Okay, so speaking of the underwater battle, super lasers destroying fucking mountains, and then all of a sudden their power seems to kind of die down a little bit. what is the deal with Black Manta's, like, super laser thing? I feel like it was very powerful from the first instance, and then it was like, oh, it's just okay now. Like, it felt like it was all over the place.
Yeah. I like, so...
And why is it on his fucking face?
Because that's the character design, Aaron. Damn.
But
Exactly.
like, but like,
Comic
logically
act.
speaking, why do you have this fucking death laser that can blow up a mountain on your fucking face?
Because it looks like a manta ray. Come on, dude.
Exactly. Doesn't have to make sense.
I feel like with his character in particular, they might have been trying a little too hard to shove it in there, just a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I'll make the argument that the weapon that the helmet itself is based on is experimental technology, and that the first thing he fucking does is takes it apart by his goddamn self, because it's like, oh, I can put this shit back together, no problem. So if the laser gets dumbed down a bit because he just had to have freaking laser beams coming out of it, then I'm okay with this. Plus, it would have been too OP to just have him show up with the gun and disintegrate Arthur just on shot one.
Yeah, that's true.
So I understand the downgrading of power.
I know. I just thought it just felt so inconsistent and weird to me.
It's fair. Is
there anything else we want to talk about that, or we want to move on to the next one?
We can move on.
Okay,
Unless,
okay.
Robbie, do you have anything to say on that?
Well, regardless if it doesn't make sense, I thought it looked cool.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
all I care about.
It looked cool. I think it's what this movie's philosophy was. It's just, does it work? Who cares? It's cool. That's
It's
mostly
the rule
what it
of
is.
cool. The movie follows the rule of cool. That's exactly what it is.
That's right.
Speaking of the rule of cool, could we get a single movie where Aquaman just fights trench monsters? That was like the best part of the film for me. It was
Yes.
so fucking cool.
I was losing my mind as that happened. Like, the fight in and of itself. And then they're like, all right, we're going to have to dive down with this flare. And then they go, and it's almost like you're in the underworld. It's black. And I'm like, yo, what's happening? And then they keep going down, and there's more that keep showing up. I'm like, fuck, ridiculous. I'm losing my mind.
That was so awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I hope whatever they do, like they have a side, like in or whatever.
Yeah.
He has to go to the trench for something and fight people.
Yeah, I need
Like
more
side
of
mission.
Trench. I need more information on the magical lightning storm under the sea that is a portal to the hidden sea in the world's core. I need more of the Trench. I need more of that.
I mean, like, here's the thing. I'm a big Cthulhu fan, Ryan, as you probably know. I love Bloodborne. I love Cthulhu lore. I love all the monsters and stuff. That whole scene was my jam right there. It led to the mini Jurassic Park little bit in the Earth's core. That whole part of the movie was just like, oh man, this is great. I want more of that. And then a kaiju at the end of it. A kaiju, Ryan. So much stuff.
I think the biggest praise that I can give of this, actually, Allegra pointed out, is like when we found out that his mom had been sacrificed to the bench. Meta Ryan was like, okay, so we're gonna see Nicole Kidman again. We're gonna see Nicole Kidman's character. She's gonna have survived in the trench. They're gonna go to the trench, and then we're gonna see her somehow, some way. So as soon as we heard, hey, the heading is actually pointing us off to the trench, so that's where we have to go. I'm like, okay, Nicole Kidman's character is gonna be showing up soon. But the moment that the trench mermen fucking nightmare fuel guys showed up, I forgot about it entirely.
I think that might have been the point.
They descent into hell, and I'm like, I have no idea where the fuck this film is going. And they go to the lightning storm, and I'm like, what the fuck is happening? And then they get teleported, and she almost gets eaten by a dinosaur. I'm like, holy shit! And then Nicole came up, and I'm like, oh yeah, right, we're gonna see this at some point. Fuck, I completely forgot about it.
It's a really good sleight of hand trick they use in the film. It's one of those. It's like a magician. They have you looking at one thing to distract you to make you forget about the obvious thing they're trying to do, and it worked. It worked really well.
More trench, please. I need more trench.
More trench.
Absolutely.
Hashtag more trench. Let's see. Okay, so here's one. So why did it feel like the quote-unquote best Atlantis was also the whitest and richest part of Atlantis?
Because society.
And why are all the deep-sea monsters and fishmen treated like lower-class races when they clearly are the superior races? I mean, look at them. They're fucking amazing looking.
Because society. It's just fucking...
I think the crab people are the best.
Crab.
Yeah, the crab people were ride or die. They were like,
Yeah.
It's like we're not bending the knee to you.
Yeah. Those are my guys.
Mm-hmm.
They had crabs flinging lava as mortar fire, as trebuchets. What the? Come on, guys. How can you not love these guys?
It's weird to imagine this movie is connected to Man of Steel. I just saw that for next week's recording, Ryan, and I'm sitting here like, how on earth is any of this related to Man of Steel at all? Like, it shouldn't be possible. They're so different in tone and setting. How is that even possible?
Yeah, I feel like the films are like outside directors trying to hard course correct what DC is going through. So it's going to feel super disconnected from like their older stuff, but I think they're trying to improve it as well. And I think Wonder Woman was amazing. I think this movie was so much fun. It wasn't a critically acclaimed movie, but it was a great blockbuster film. And so I'm happy that they're going in this direction. Make more fun and good movies, guys.
And that's the thing.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Yeah, I agree with you, Ryan. Like, I think it does feel disjointed, just from Zack Snyder's fuck up in the first couple movies, but these guys are trying to make it more the comic book universe it should be. And I think if they're allowed to, it will get better. Like, I hope people and as the numbers on this movie has shown, like, people are willing to give them another chance, and I hope it all comes back together.
Come together.
Right now.
Over me.
But no. So I think you hit the nail on the head there, Ryan. Though I really think you do, and I'm looking forward to seeing how Shazam turns out when we get to it next week, because I think that will definitely give us an idea of where we can expect DC to be going in terms of its box office and in terms of its popularity, because I think this 1-2 punch is going to be what's important. We have Joker later this year. I don't know how it's going to connect, if at all, so I'm not going to talk about that at all, because I don't want to speculate on something I have no idea what's going on. So
Fair.
And then we have Wonder Woman 84 next year, which looks like it is just more Wonder Woman, which I'm okay for. That's I want more of that too. Yes, please.
Yeah, more
Absolutely.
of that. That was fantastic.
Okay, final question here, and of course, I had to throw this one in here. Does this film feel very anti-Trump with its mockery of flat Earth and the demonization of a giant wall? Thoughts?
Oh, the ignorance. Oh, I love it. They have a glass wall that's impenetrable with these fucking cannons. Okay, let's go. Let's just go.
I wonder if they got Mexico to pay for that wall in Atlantis.
No. No, it was no. You didn't see the GoFundMe thing that they had set up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's how.
For a minute, I think we're saying it's the crab people. I'm like, oh, they wouldn't do that shit. They're too tough for that.
They're busy throwing lava, bro.
It was actually funded by Atlanteans after the promise that the crab people would pay for it.
The crab people are like, "Fuck you guys."
But hey, you know what? The trench guys went in on the turrets. They thought that was pretty cool. Okay, so that is it for the movie. Do we have any other thoughts we want to get on before I hit the next segment here?
No, I think we said it all. I had a blast with it. It was a great blockbuster film. A little clunky in some bits, but very positive. I really, really liked it.
Cool.
I'm really interested, with the success of Wonder Woman and now this. I want to see how Shazam does and see if we can get this back in the right track, kind of like what I was talking about. But I had a great time watching this.
Same here.
I was very very pleasantly surprised.
Indeed. We're getting to the closing parts of the episode here, so real quick, shout out to the mailbag. I actually do have one. I had one fan mail. We read that back in our Glass episode, Ryan. So if you want more fan mail to send in, please.
How could I forget?
Yes, exactly. So please send it in to evacstation@gmail.com. Wait, did I say it right? Ryan, can you correct me? Is that correct?
That is no. The email is actually frickin' laser beams attached to their heads at. Fuck, damn it! I'm sorry. It's evacstation@gmail.com.
Oh, good. I thought I was wrong there. I'm glad you corrected me. Anyway, go there, Twitter, Tumblr, or Facebook to get us some messages. We'd love to hear from you guys. Tell us what your favorite movies are, suggestions for upcoming podcasts, or if you just want to say hi and comment on how lovely Ryan's hair looks today. We would love that too. And with that, gentlemen, I'm going to move on to our final segment for this episode, which is a quick round of Seat Triv.
Oh boy.
For those wondering what we're going to be doing after this, final thoughts and closeout segment is going to be actually part of the next episode for this week, because don't forget, DC season is 2 episodes a week, comparing our live action to our animated movies, and we're going to see who wore it better in the next episode. Until then, let's get some Seat Triv out of the way. So, first one to answer gets the point, obviously. So here we go with our first question. It's a true-false question. Aquaman is a founding member of the Justice League in the comics. True or false?
True.
True. Yep.
You're both right. I'll give you both the point there. I heard it at the same time. So, let's see. Next one. What is Aquaman's first animated appearance?
Ooh. Super Friends?
That's Robbie's answer. Ryan, what's your answer?
I don't watch the animated nearly as often as I should. I should check. My guess is that there would have been some type of tag team movie with him and probably Batman or Superman, but I have no idea what the fuck it's called.
You are very close, but just a little off. Let me look it up real quick to make sure I get the year right here. So the answer is actually Superman, Aquaman, Hour of Adventure, which premiered in 1967.
Interesting.
Oh God,
getting real old here. Who was the first actor to play a live-action Aquaman?
Ooh, it's Alan. He was on Smallville. Richmond?
Fuck, you're right. The Smallville kid.
Yep, that is the correct answer. Smallville kid.
Yeah.
Well done, Robbie. Well done.
All right. Next one. Who is Aquaman's son, and what is his nickname?
Isn't it
Aqualad?
That's the sidekick.
Arthur?
The name of the baby is Arthur. What's the nickname they gave him?
Ooh.
I don't want to say anything that'll give it away.
Yeah, Ryan, you already said Aqualad, didn't you?
Yeah, I said Aqualad. I already put mine in.
I want to say... yeah, I don't know.
The answer will make you roll your eyes. It's Aqua Baby.
That's so stupid.
Aqua Baby, making her dreams come true.
No more thinking. No.
All right, last question here for you, gentlemen. Who does Aquaman appoint to King of Atlantis after he leaves the throne?
Ooh.
I would go with Volko. I would guess Volko is probably the yeah, that would be my guess. He was pretty much running the show with Orm just from behind the sidelines. So yeah, I'd go with Volko.
All right, I've got Ryan for Volko. Robbie, any other thoughts on that one?
I'm gonna go with Mira.
That's an interesting choice as well. I like them both. I'd say both of them would be good. I'd vote for either one of them in 2020. The answer, unfortunately, Robbie, is Volko.
Yes.
So the winner of this one, of course, unfortunately, Ryan, is Robbie by 1 point.
That's perfectly fine.
Actually, sorry.
More than 1 point?
I'm going to give him a 1.5 because he got Arthur correct. So, yep. But still, good show, guys. Good show. Come back next week for more trivia. Got Shazam coming up. It'll be good times. For those listening to the audience, come back tomorrow for Justice League: Throne of Atlantis, the animated Aquaman movie. We've got some thoughts, I imagine.
Yes, indeed. Indeed.
And more importantly, come back to see who wore better, the Aquaman or the Throne of Atlantis movie for Aquaman, I guess, origin story. So until then, gentlemen, is there anything else we need to mention?
Nope, I can't wait to see you guys tomorrow so we can talk about the animated stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Had a lot of fun on this one.
Yep. Glad to have you back on, and can't wait to have you back on tomorrow.
Absolutely.
And then for those in the audience, again, patreon.com is the place you can go support us. You can also go to Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, and all the other places where you go to your podcast platform of choice, iTunes, Google Play, Podcast Addict, whatever one you use, we are likely there. And if we're not, send me an email, and I'll see what I can do to fix that. We'll see you after the credits.
Bye.